list. Our top story today, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty will be a paid expansion. Now, Cyberpunk's expansion will cost you, but not as much as the full game. So don't worry, you're not going to be spending 60 quid on this. It's going to be a nice little price to just carry on the game for you. It won't be our final trip to Night City though as well, because there has been teased there will be a Cyberpunk 2 sequel coming very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Now, obviously in the past we've had expansions from The Witcher and things like that, and that hasn't cost a lot at all to get the DLCs free, and then everything else, it hasn't cost a lot at all. So it's quite exciting if you want to continue your Cyberpunk 2077 journey, then Phantom Liberty might be the expansion that is right up your street. And now joined with James Wright, a contributor here at Jinx. He's going to let us know a little bit more about it as well. Hi James, how are you?
All good, all good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you, not too bad. What do you think to this expansion to Cyberpunk? Are you a fan of Cyberpunk?
Yeah, I reviewed it when it first came out,
Yeah.
and it had a lot of flaws. And I think, in credit to the team, they've really worked on it. And I think if you had a bad experience with the game, it's well worth going back to it. And if people are kind of surprised by the expansion being paid, I don't think it should come as a surprise. I think some people might feel maybe aggrieved because of how badly the game launched, that they would almost feel like, oh, well, it should be free. But the studio have never typically done free paid expansions. Like Hearts of Stone was like a tenner, and Blood and Wine was, I think, was about £20. So this is what the studio do. But then, in fairness, both those DLC expansions that they did for The Witcher were both amazing. So I would expect or hope that Phantom Liberty will kind of be on the same level as what they did with The Witcher.
Absolutely, I think as well, like you said as well, it's not even going to be anything, more towards the full game price anyway. You're getting it at a very fraction of the original price of the game, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think seeing the strides the game has made since it first launched in such a poor state, especially on console, like it was much better on PC, but especially on console, it was really bad. And seeing the strides they've made in improving the game, I think it's only fair that if they're adding a sizable expansion to it, that they're going to be expected to be paid for that. We can't expect all content in all games to be free constantly. Some do that in better ways because they monetize it through stores. Cyberpunk doesn't have any of that, so I think it makes sense that this is kind of a paid expansion, and personally I'm looking forward to it. So
absolutely, and I think we've got a second one on the horizon as well, a sequel, which I think is exciting. I think these kind of expansions are nice because it tides us over until the sequel comes out, which I think is quite exciting. So how do you think the sequel's going to go down?
Yeah, I think I would expect that they would take a lot more time on the sequel. I think you would like to think that they would have learned from their lessons of what happened when they released the first one, and it was in such a poor state.
Yeah.
My only hope is that the sequel launches to a better standard than what the first one did, because it's undeniable that game probably, although it still did well at launch, it's undeniable that it probably underperformed what they might have expected because of the terrible reaction to it at launch. So I'd like to think that any sequel they do release, as long as they take their time with it, they go through, they delay it if they need to, and they go through those steps to make sure that it is released in the best possible state as it can be, I'm sure it will be a success.
Do you think that the bugs happening in the first game is putting people off maybe even wanting to get an expansion just in case that happens again and there's kind of bugs littered everywhere? Or do you think people are just like, it happened, that's fine, we'll move on?
I think enough time has passed since when the game first launched, and enough updates have been released that people will probably won't mind paying for it and won't mind jumping into the game. I think I wouldn't be surprised if when the expansion launches, if on the various stores, be it PlayStation, Xbox, that you see the kind of base game be kind of put on sale, and if that manages to entice people into playing it a bit more or to picking up the game and giving it a try, then and all the better. I think it's still worth playing even now. So.
Absolutely.